Watching our video first look and a quick review of the UiiSii. This is a BATA. It's an in-ear style pair of headphones that offers a very unique dual driver setup. So you can see kind of the two drivers integrated onto each of the ear tips, which makes it slightly larger than your average pair of regular earphones, but it also claims to have enhanced bass as well as audio frequencies, and supposedly enhances the music quality, makes it high fidelity at a relatively low cost. It sells on Amazon for under $30, which is still pretty affordable in my opinion. The presentation looks top-notch, and they claim that they had to go through R&D for a period of over 9 months just to craft this, so that should be interesting to test out if the sound really is that great. And you can see some basic information as far as the frequency range, 20 to 20,000 hertz, 16 ohms independence, which seem quite decent on paper. And there's also the length, the cable, which is 1.2 meters long, standard 3.5 millimeter jack, so unfortunately not going to work with your iPhone 7 or 7 Plus, but for other devices and MP3 players, it should work without any problems. And there is a built-in inline remote control for adjusting the volume and answering and rejecting phone calls. So in here we have the box, which opens up sideways to reveal the earphones on the very top, as well as accessories on the very bottom. So if we lift up the accessory pocket here, the earbuds compartment, it seems like we have the standard pair of silicone tips to get a more comfortable and custom fit, and that's it. So there aren't any kind of memory foam ear tips that are included out of the box, so that's something to keep in mind as a high fidelity pair. There's also a user guide that's printed in full color. It shows off the various details in Chinese, English, and Japanese. And over here there is a protective bag, so everything is in these very neat compartments with the company's logo on the other side. So this is meant to protect your earphones when you're traveling, to prevent dust from getting in, and it stays shut when it's not being
Examining
used.
the design closely, the first thing I noticed is that they're very lightweight and they're made out of plastic, which makes them pretty comfortable after wearing them for even an hour or two. I didn't notice any stress, which is good. Despite having two drivers, it's actually still pretty lightweight. With that being said, the cable I would have liked to see have a flat ribbon wire design as opposed to a traditional kind of design going on here, which allows it to still tangle pretty easily. So if you put it into pockets and in a backpack or something and move around, it does result in you having to untangle it at the end of the day. Otherwise, the look is still fairly discreet. It's kind of elegant. It has a few accents going on here, but you can't really tell that it's a super unique pair of headphones until you examine it very closely. You kind of see the drivers in this translucent plastic material on the other side, and again, they are pretty lightweight, stays inside your ears fairly well. I tried jogging around and moving with these, and they still stayed in place despite the presence of an arm or a large wing that catches the sides of your ears when you're really doing vigorous exercise. So they're not meant for sports necessarily, but they still are fairly noise isolating, and they stay nicely inside of your ears. Taking a look at the built-in inline remote control here, it's made out of plastic. The other side features the volume controls, and then the back features the microphone, which is noise isolating, and it's possible to place and reject phone calls on here just by tapping on the center key. The keys themselves are pretty tactile, they're responsive and risen above the surface of the unit. There's also dedicated volume controls, which are always nice to see, and in general we didn't have any problems with this built-in inline remote, although we do wish that the build here would be kind of metallic or aluminum as opposed to plastic, since it does still feel a little bit lightweight. Finally, on the other side, we have access just to a gold-plated 3.5 millimeter jack, which is very standard, easy to attach and to remove. There's the company's logo throughout, so a bit of detail work, and the arms themselves feel well constructed. They don't feel like they're too flimsy or they'll break too easily. And there is a kind of Velcro strap here that allows you to put everything into a spiral shape just to prevent it from getting tangled accidentally. So everything is pretty well thought out from a design perspective. So going into the audio quality a little bit more, the thing I noticed the most when I first wore these headphones was really the bass. If I was listening to some rock music and to some electronic music with beats, I really noticed a distinctive thump, and it surprised me because for the size of these earphones, they really pack a punch in the lower frequencies. With that being said, for general music listening, it remains clean and crisp sounding, but there's not a huge difference between these and other fairly good, I would say, $40, $50 earphones on the market. They're clean sounding, they're crisp sounding, there's no other kind of electronics embedded fitted on here. There's no active noise cancellation. So as expected, there aren't any distortion if you really listen closely. But if you try to turn the volume all the way up, you might lose a little bit of the detail if you do listen again very closely. So not quite audiophile grade, I would say, but very close to being a nice enthusiast grade, high fidelity pair of earbuds. Otherwise, as far as the sound signature and how it's changed by these dual drivers, they just get very loud. So it's impressive, especially if you are listening to music or watching videos that are not encoded super well and they often have some kind of low volume output. You can plug these in and still hear everything. Good for watching those movies, good for listening to general music, to classical music, and you can kind of hear the various instrumentals as well, separated pretty well just by all in all, I would say that these aren't kind of revolutionary or mind-blowing sounding earphones, but they are extremely solid and they're unique. They're unique looking as well as unique sounding. So if you are an enthusiast with earphones, you can pick these up at a relatively low cost, and I would say enjoy it for most genres that you want to test it for. Definitely a very distinctive look, filled with these tiny little details once you start looking at it. Although I do wish the build quality would have some more hints of aluminum or metal just to make it feel a bit more premium, since right now it's really going for the super lightweight feel, which I kind of understand since the drivers are bigger than normal, but I do wish, again, that it feels a bit more substantial with the remote and everything considered. But all in all, a really unique pair of earphones that I think for sub $35 is definitely worth checking out. You can learn more details about these in our upcoming written review, but for now, this has been our video. Thanks for watching here at OS Reviews. This has been the dual driver in ear style